Today our video on basic cabinet training is going to focus on the 32 millimeter system of holes that is used for attaching cabinet hardware like drawer slides and hinges and all kinds of accessories. They're also used for shelf supports. So it's a very useful system, and we're going to go through some of the basics about the 32 millimeter system. So let's get started. In this drawing, you're looking at just a blank, like you would use to build a kitchen base cabinet, 24 inches deep and 34 inches high, however large you want to make them. Well, that's one of the side panels, and this video is about how to use the 32 millimeter system of drilling for holes in the cabinet panels to construct your cabinets. So let's take a look at our first illustration with the holes drilled into the panel. This is two lines of system holes. They're 32 millimeters apart. The space between the holes that you see on this drawing are 32 millimeters apart, both on the front line of holes and the back line of holes. From the front edge of the cabinet to the first line of holes is 37 millimeters. That is the standard. And you want to stick to that standard because hinge mounting plates, drawer slides, and cabinet accessories are counting on you using the 37 millimeter setback. And it's really nice when you can just hold your product up and screw it right onto the cabinet because of that preset standard. The only difference would be is if you're doing inset doors or inset drawers, you might want to move that back according to the manufacturer's specifications. That line of holes might go back. Now that's the front line of holes. 32 millimeter spacing, 37 millimeters back from the front edge. And the size of the hole that you drill in the cabinet is 5 millimeters in diameter. We just talked about the front line of holes. Now let's talk about the back line of holes. The same system, 32 millimeter spacing. And in the material that you buy downtown, something I don't like is they put the hole 37 millimeters from the back of the cabinet just like they do on the front. I suppose that's so the piece can be used interchangeably, but doesn't work very well for attaching drawer slides or even shelving. Sometimes it can be a problem with that. So I prefer to drill the holes in a different location, something that'll match up with the drawer runners. Here's what I'm talking about with regard to the location of the holes at the back side of the cabinet, as you can see there. They're not set the same distance from the back as they are from the front. I have moved the holes so they're quite a bit farther in. And you'll look at the green dots across the top of the image there. Those green dots are 32 millimeter spacing. So for me, my preference is that the holes will line up with the front holes and be a multiple or 32 millimeters. And what that makes possible is nowadays, most manufacturers are locating holes in their drawer slides and their runners so that they'll match up to the 32 millimeter system. So you may not put your hole where I did, but you look at whatever your drawer slide is that you're using and calculate where to put the hole and then drill the holes in. Now you don't have to put as many holes as I did. You might only drill the holes that you absolutely need. I'm just using this thing perforated with all these holes for the purpose of demonstration. Now let's look at another thing. In this image, there is a center line of holes. The purpose of that, in my case, is that I'm going to put in a half shelf. And that half shelf will sit on that center line of holes that you see in the drawing. But it's also, as you see in this picture, on a multiple of 32. And again, that works great if you have a drawer runner that has holes in those locations. But I always personally like to do that. But again, the location of those holes at the back of the cabinet and that intermediate line is whatever you want it to be. But the front, there's There's a system there, and it works. And that's especially designed if you're doing an overlay drawer front or an overlay door. And a lot of hardware is based on that. But as I mentioned earlier, if you're doing inset, then even that location changes according to the manufacturer's specifications. The reason I included this picture is because it demonstrates that if you use the 37 millimeter setback on the back side of the cabinet, it isn't going to work with your runner. You're going to have problems with that. So where that green line is, I would not put them there. Again, you see where I like them, where the red line of holes is at the back of the cabinet. And so now I put the drawer runner on there, everything works fine. Here I have 2 runners and finally a 3rd runner, all taking advantage of the 32 millimeter system of line boring holes. In this image, I've added something here. See those green things? There's 3 of them. Those are stretcher rails. That's to help stabilize your box, square it up, make it strong. That's why a stretcher rail is there. If you look at this image that I've attached to it, you can see how the stretcher rail is being used in a base cabinet. So we're looking at a side view here, and you can just see the ends of the stretcher rails in the drawing. A very important part of the cabinet, and they're useful every time you put a drawer in. It's nice to have a stretcher rail located wherever there's a drawer. And as long as I'm complaining about that line of holes, look at the back of the cabinet here. You see the blue line on the cabinet? That represents the cabinet back. You see how close those holes are to the back of the cabinet? It just isn't going to work. Shelves are not going to, those shelf pins that you put into the line of holes are just going to be too close to the back of the cabinet. And there's a danger that if you use a short shelf, it's going to come forward and drop down. Now, if you use a shelf that's full length of your base cabinet and it's going to bump the front and the back, it probably won't fall off. But it's risky to use holes that close to the back of the cabinet. So locate them wherever you want, but get them away from the back of the cabinet. I'm pretty sure you're tired of me hearing me talk about that, so I'll quit. So there I stuck the shelf in, and you can see where the shelf pin would be located, and it isn't likely it's going to fall off. Now in the image you're looking at right now, I put a countertop on it. Kind of nice to have a countertop when you're doing a kitchen cabinet. And the countertop is attached using those stretcher rails. They'll run a screw up through the stretcher rail into the countertop and lock that countertop down. And now in this image, the one I just put up, that one has the leg levelers at the bottom. I'm a believer in leg levelers. You can build, at the bottom of your cabinet, you can build a 2x4 frame down there and do whatever you want with it. But I like leg levelers, especially like if you're in commercial or institutional or hospitals, they're requiring leg levelers. But in that setting, you would be using stainless steel, whereas here, I'm demonstrating this with plastic leg levelers. Helps you to level your cabinet and so on. And then what I did with leg levelers, they have little brackets so you can attach your toe kick space right to a little cleat that goes around the leg leveler and snap it right onto the front of the cabinet. And it makes for a nice clean finish that way. And now in this image, you will see 2 things. One, I put a piece of wood at the bottom of the cabinet for the side view. It's hiding the leg levelers. And also, I put in a drawer runner. And it's resting on that one stretcher of the cabinet. And then I put a drawer front on the drawer that you don't see. But it's demonstrating how it works. Your drawer front will line up with the stretcher, and then you can't see into the cabinet. 2 things again on this image. One is I added a door to the front of the cabinet. And hinge mounting plates. Those are Bloom hinge mounting plates on there. And they make use of the 37 millimeter setback for your cabinets. And then you would attach your hinge to the door and then snap that onto the hinge mounting plate. Let's take a look. And there it is. I put the hinge on. And now I swung the door open. So you can see the hinge attached. Of course, there's hinge cup holes in the door. And then the hinge is attached to the door, and the door is snapped on then to the mounting plates that are on the cabinet, on the inside, on the side panel. And now in this image, I'm demonstrating with 3 drawer runners. All of them have their own drawer front. And again, taking advantage of the 32 millimeter system of holes for those drawer runners. And I finally decided to actually put the drawer in the cabinet so you can see it, and there it is. And I have opened the drawer at the bottom a little bitty ways, and now I kicked it all the way open. I nearly bumped my nose. So there, that's how far we are on the 32 millimeter system. We're not done yet. In another video, I'm going to show some of the hardware that can be used with the 32 millimeter system. And I'm also going to show why in some ways using a 5 millimeter diameter hole can be impractical. And a few other things related to the actual use of the 32 millimeter system in the cabinet. So for right now anyway, I hope you got something out of this video. And if you did, give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.